Hey everyone, welcome back to the Nadlin Forum Podcast Daily. I'm Ruby Sturt, and I've got Lior joining me as always. So Lior, have you felt this little buzz in the real estate market lately? It feels like things are just starting to pick up after such a long slog, right?
Absolutely, Ruby. I was actually looking at some of that new data, First Americans numbers especially, and there's this cautiously optimistic vibe right now. You know, a slight dip in mortgage rates, affordability is ticking up a bit. I mean, we're not back to pre-pandemic glory, but the signs are there. Weekly mortgage purchase applications jumped about 8% in September. Year over year, that's up nearly 19%. That's not nothing. We haven't had numbers like that in a couple of years?
It's wild. Even my mates who were absolutely not thinking about moving suddenly started window shopping again, just scoping out listings, running the numbers, that sort of thing. Actually, it kind of reminds me, remember how we talked in a previous episode about that calm in the mortgage market? Well, now it's like that calm's giving way to some hopeful activity, even if it's just baby steps.
That's a really good point. Honestly, it reminds me of what happened in early 2022. We'd seen rates just climbing, and then suddenly they dipped a little bit, not even much, but that was enough to get phones ringing. Even the investors who'd walked away from deals started rerunning all their spreadsheets, revisiting properties they'd shelved. It was like this collective. Maybe now's the time, but let's keep it in perspective. The sales rate today is still pretty far below that pre-pandemic average of 5.4 million annualized transactions. We're around 4 million now. So it's movement, but not a comeback tour yet.
Yeah, it's a cautious optimism, isn't it? Like we're seeing these little green shoots, but the soil's not quite right for a full-on bloom. Still, those application numbers, they do show people are poking their heads up thinking, maybe I can finally get in. And it's that sentiment shift, even more than just the number crunching, that gets interesting. People are feeling out the possibilities again.
But here's the twist. Just because buyers are sniffing around doesn't mean the listings are there. Inventory is still super tight. I mean, let's be honest. A huge chunk of people locked in these crazy low rates during the pandemic. So why would they give that up? Unless they really have to, nobody's jumping out of a 2.75% mortgage into something higher. It's like psychologically, they're anchored, scared to budge unless it makes absolute financial sense.
Completely. And that's what's keeping the party kind of underwhelming, right? Even though affordability's improved a bit, like highest home buying power since early 2022 apparently, it's still, about 65% below the average before the pandemic housing boom. That's a massive gap. My friend Chloe, she's been looking for a place for ages, finally found a listing she liked. But get this, there were already 6 offers before she could even see the living room. It's become this wild competition for not much choice.
Exactly. So demand is thawing, but supply is just stuck. Most homeowners are thinking, I got my low monthly. Why risk tossing that away unless I'm getting something much better? There's almost this withdrawal effect. So even though more folks are coming back into the market, the volume's just not ballooning like you might expect with those application increases. It's a bottleneck.
Yeah, so instead of houses sitting forever, what we're seeing is anything remotely good gets snapped up almost immediately. It's not like buyers aren't out there. It's just that every move is a scramble. Actually, Lior, as you were saying, it echoes what we saw earlier, those sellers psychologically anchored around their rates. It's not just math, it's mindset. Sellers need the stars to align or they're not budging.
And honestly, until more people are convinced that it's worth moving on from those pandemic deals, inventory's just gonna stay constrained. So even if there's excitement, there's all this pent-up movement that can't get released into the market yet. I mean, We've seen this pattern a few different times now. It's a sticky situation on both sides.
But you know what? Even with all that, people's lives keep moving. Like rates and prices matter, but at the end of the day, life happens regardless. You've got marriages, job changes, families growing, and, sometimes families shrinking, honestly. It's those milestones that push people to act, even when the big economic picture looks iffy.
Absolutely. I was just working with a client in New York, actually. A tech guy who wasn't planning on moving at all, but then he landed this new job, better location for his family. Even though he was nervous about where rates might go, he pretty much said, "We need to do this." Life's not waiting for the perfect moment. And that's really the truth for a lot of folks. No matter how many market reports you read, there's always going to be a baseline level of movement, because life doesn't hit pause just because the economy is offbeat.
Yeah, it's like the housing market never totally stops. There's always a layer of demand just because people's circumstances change. Even the experts are saying, doesn't matter if rates are high or confidence is low, life events keep the gears turning. Those real moments, they kind of power whatever momentum we do see, even if the rest is sluggish.
And I think that's a good place to land for today. No single trend tells the whole story. Rates, affordability, inventory, they're all shifting. But underneath, you've always got people making moves for reasons way bigger than the numbers.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Lior. So, if you're listening and in the middle of your own life leap, or just window shopping for now, we're cheering you on, wherever you're at. That's a wrap for this episode, but let's keep an eye on those market shifts and see what happens next. Thanks for chatting, Lior.
Thanks, Ruby. Always a pleasure. And thanks to everyone tuning in. Catch you next time.
Bye, everyone. Keep your ears peeled for our next episode. Cheers.